Isabella's knuckles were wet from clutching the pregnancy test on the ultrasound. The faint little spot was like a bomb hanging over her heart. 10 weeks. Exactly from that night after the Christmas party. She meant to storm into Marcus's office, slap the paper down on his desk piled with bridge blueprints, but instead, she spotted that familiar black Mercedes in the underground parking lot. The window was half rolled down, Marcus's cheek rested on his assistant Lucy's hair, and in his hand was the velvet box, the 6th anniversary necklace she tried on at the jewelry store just last week. The windshield wipers swung frantically, chopping Lucy's laughter into fragments. Isabella's high heel suddenly sank into a puddle, and she froze in place. Then, the rumble of a familiar engine came from behind. Lucas's red Fiat pulled up beside her, and on the passenger seat sat her favorite hot cocoa, the cup emblazoned with Lucas, Technical Department. MS Bertrand. Lucas's voice drifted through the window. His gray-green eyes glanced at the pregnancy test in her hand, then toward the Mercedes. Are you waiting for Mr. Marcus? Isabella stuffed the test into her coat pocket. The sweet aroma of hot cocoa mixed with the cold rain hit her nose, and suddenly she remembered what Lucas had said in the hallway on Christmas Eve. You deserve more attention. It turned out all those flutters of the heart had long been planted in the mess of her marriage, waiting to trap her. Isabella slid the last stack of ledgers into the filing cabinet. The scrape of the metal drawer sounded like nails on tin. Outside, fine snow dusted the spire of Brussels Town Hall, and the December dusk dyed the office a somber orange. She checked her watch. 6:45 p.m. Marcus had said he'd be inspecting the Liège construction site this morning, but the date on his expense report for the train ticket was clearly next week. Manager, the Christmas party starts at 7. Intern Mathilde poked her head in. A snowflake caught in her hair melted into a tiny wet spot on her navy wool dress. Will your husband be coming? Isabella smoothed the creases of her skirt, her fingertips brushing her waist where the warmth Lucas had left in his car last week still lingered. He has a bridge design inspection. She touched up her lipstick in the vanity mirror. The scarlet shade covered the dryness at the corners of her mouth, but not the skip beat of her heart when she heard someone say, Lucas is doing magic tricks in the break room. The banquet hall streamers glinted with cheap gold. As champagne bubbles popped on her tongue, Isabella's gaze locked onto the corner. Lucas had rolled up his dress shirt sleeves, the muscles in his forearms tensing as he adjusted the projector. He was telling a colleague about getting lost in the port of Antwerp in fluent French, making two girls laugh until their eyes watered. That's the new guy, Lucas Dubois. Claire from finance leaned over, clinking her champagne flute against Isabella's. Top graduate from KU Leuven, but they stuck him in technical work. Is his dad's a senior director at headquarters, but he insisted on starting from the bottom. Isabella said nothing, only watching as Lucas raised his glass to her. His eyes shimmered gray-green in the light, like the North Sea before a storm. Suddenly, she thought of Marcus's eyes, always clouded with the exhaustion of staring at blueprints, never sparing a second glance at her newly permed hair over breakfast that morning. Mr. Dubois, she heard herself say, her tone as formal as a memo, though her fingertips unconsciously brushed the rim of her glass. Trouble with the projector? Just warming it up, MS, Bertrand. Lucas's finger glided over the power button. A smudge of dust on his fingertip made him rub it against the seam of his khakis, a clumsy little gesture that reminded Isabella of Marcus when they first married, always getting motor oil on his suit pants after fixing the faucet. I heard you're in charge of the year-end audit. The report program I developed can auto-verify attendance records, might save you some work. Isabella's heart lurched. Just last week, she'd secretly altered Marcus's overtime logs, changing those nights he'd spent with clients to on-site duty. She'd even lied to herself that it was to preserve the last shred of decency in their marriage. During the gift exchange, Lucas drew the fountain pen set she'd prepared. The dark brown leather case was embossed with gold, far too delicate for Marcus's taste. Perfect for signing important documents, Lucas suddenly murmured, his warm breath brushing her ear. Like altered attendance records, for example. Isabella's blood ran cold. She stared at the smile in his eyes, half expecting a tongue, until he added, just joking, the fine crinkles at the corners of his eyes holding a vitality she hadn't seen in years. Your husband's lucky he gets to come home to someone as lovely as you every night. The words were like a red-hot coal dropped into an ice lake. Isabella thought of breakfast that morning, when Marcus had stared at his blueprints and said, I'll fix the faucet this weekend. But the weekend before, he'd spent 2 full days in his office drawing bridge structures, never even glancing at the dripping kitchen faucet. Snow fell harder as the party ended. Isabella stood at the company entrance, fumbling for her gloves. Her fingers had just brushed the edge of her leather gloves when a clinking sound came from behind. Lucas was twirling his car keys, a plastic reindeer keychain glowing bright against the snowy night. Can I give you a ride? It's on my way. Snowflakes dusted his eyelashes like crushed diamonds. Last year, that road to your place was blocked by snow for 3 hours. The heater in the car was cranked up, and the radio played the Beatles' Hey Jude. Lucas talked about getting lost in the port of Antwerp during his internship, mistaking a shipping container for the customs building, and Isabella suddenly laughed. A deep, chest-deep song she hadn't made since 3 years ago, when Marcus had taken her to see tulips in the Netherlands. Turn right here. She pointed to her apartment building, but caught Lucas staring at the wedding ring on her ring finger. It had grown loose, a testament to the 5 pounds she'd lost in the past 6 months. A notice taped to the hallway entrance read elevator under maintenance in red, stinging her eyes. They had no choice but to trudge up the snow-dusted stairs. After you. On the 3rd floor landing, Lucas suddenly grabbed her wrist. The scent of pine aftershave wrapped around her, nothing like Marcus's usual cologne, but it reminded her of the aftershave she'd secretly sniffed from her father when she was a girl. The dim hallway light flickered off. In the dark, Lucas's breath was inches from her ear. You know. Every time you frown at numbers in meetings. When his warm lips brushed her neck, Isabella grabbed the stair rail, the cold metal seeping into her fingertips. A neighbor's door slammed on the 5th floor, triggering the motion sensor light. She stepped back, her lower back hitting the icy fire hydrant. I'm married. The words felt like a rusted safety latch, finally catching in her throat. Lucas stepped down to the landing below. Moonlight stretched his shadow long. Of course. He held up his hands in a gesture of surrender, the burn scar on his knuckles from fixing the coffee machine still fresh. I just think you deserve more moments where someone sees you. Isabella fumbled for her keys, the metal teeth digging into her palm. When she pushed the door open, a thin layer of dust covered the leather shoes by the entrance. Marcus had worn his old work boots that morning. He always said, no need for nice shoes at the construction site, but he'd forgotten she bought those boots for him when they married. The radiator clicked softly, and the drip of the kitchen faucet echoed through the empty apartment. Forgot to fix it again, she muttered to the air, then remembered saying the same thing last time, when Marcus had replied without looking up, I'll handle it this weekend. That weekend, he spent 2 full days drawing blueprints in his office. The shower spray alternated between hot and cold. Isabella buried her face in a towel, taking a deep breath. Her phone vibrated outside the bathroom. The name Marcus on the screen felt like a thorn. She wrapped herself in a bathrobe and answered, water droplets from her hair dripping onto the screen, blurring his name. Got called to the Liège site last minute. I'll be back tomorrow morning. The rustle of papers came from the other end, and Lucy's voice drifted through faintly. Mr. Marcus, I put the files in your bag. Then Marcus's voice, lock up when you leave. Isabella stared at her open mouth in the mirror, finally managing to say, don't forget to eat dinner. The second the line went dead, she threw the phone onto the sink. The pregnancy test slipped from her coat pocket, landing in a puddle of water. The red line indicating pregnancy suddenly blazed bright. The next day's downpour hit without warning. Isabella stared at the neon lights blurred by rain outside. The coffee on her desk was as cold as ice. A cheerful whistle echoed down the hallway, and Lucas appeared at her door, his dress shirt shoulder soaked dark. In his hand, he clutched a circuit chip, the one he'd mentioned using to fix the security cameras. Technical Department Weekly Report. He set the folder on the corner of her desk, his gaze suddenly fixing on her computer screen. That formula's wrong. Isabella frowned and leaned in. The damp smell of rain mixed with a faint citrus scent wafted over her. When Lucas leaned over to type, his sleeve brushed her hand, a cool touch like an electric current. See? You need an absolute value function here, or negative numbers will mess up the quarterly profit report. When he turned to speak, his eyelashes nearly brushed her cheek. Isabella jerked back, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. Occupational hazard. I can't help fixing mistakes when I see them. Lucas held up his hands and stepped back, his fingertip brushing the edge of the chip. You look like you need a hot drink. Mathilde said you've been forgetting your coffee these past 2 days. Rain lashed against the break room window. Isabella held a mug, watching tea leaves swirl to the bottom. Lucas leaned against the counter, then pulled a sticky note from his pocket. Scrawled on it was a clumsy, heart-shaped circuit diagram. My ex said my worst flaw is that I'm too nosy. She was wrong. Isabella's wedding ring clinked against the mug. She thought of the unopened anniversary dinner invitation in her drawer that morning addressed to the Belgian restaurant she mentioned last year, the one Marcus had never brought up, but she was right about one thing: I'm terrible at reading the room. Lucas's voice suddenly softened, his breath warm against her ear. Like right now, I should tell you don't want to talk about your marriage. By 8 o'clock, the downpour had turned into a deluge. Isabella stood at the company entrance, her taxi app repeating no cars available. Marcus's text was just one line: power outage at the site. Back tomorrow. The sound of raindrops hitting car roofs was like 1,000 beating hearts. Then, the headlights of Lucas's red Fiat cut through the rain. He rolled down the window, his bangs dripping wet, and the blue glow of the car clock highlighted his furrowed brows. Really is on my way this time. He waved his phone, the screen showing a flood warning from the meteorological office. Your streets on the flooded areas list. The heater in the car dried her soaked calves. Lucas turned on the radio, the host was listing flooded streets. Crap, your building's underpass is definitely flooded. He suddenly turned to her, his Adam's apple bobbing. Do you want to stay at my place first? It's just 2 blocks away, I can make up the couch. Isabella's fingers whitened around her seatbelt. The pregnancy test pressed against her stomach in her pocket. She thought of Lucas's kiss in the hallway on Christmas Eve, of Lucy's laughter in Marcus's car, and finally nodded. Maybe she just needed a place where she didn't have to act like the perfect wife anymore. The apartment building's elevator was out due to the storm. Lucas held his suit jacket over her head, and they dashed into the hallway, both breathless. On the second-floor landing, he suddenly grabbed her wrist. Your shoelace is untied. He knelt down, rain dripping from his hair onto her instep. His long fingers deftly tied a bow, and the fresh burn scar on his right wrist stood out, from fixing the coffee machine last week. Lucas followed her gaze, standing up so close she could count his eyelashes. Even tech guys make stupid mistakes like knowing you're married, but still wanting to be close. The motion sensor light on the third floor flickered off. In the dark, Isabella heard her own rapid heartbeat mixing with Lucas's damp breath. His fingers brushed her wet hair. You have a leaf in your hair. A baby's cry echoed from the 5th floor, and the light came back on. Lucas was indeed holding a maple leaf, its veins still wet with rain. Isabella watched a drop of water slide down his chin, and before she could think, she reached up to wipe it away. His skin was warmer than Marcus's palms had ever been. The gesture froze both of them. Lucas's pupils widened in the dim light. He slowly leaned down, his nose almost touching her forehead. You know, every time you circle a mistake in red pen. Isabella stood on her tiptoes and kissed him. The salt of rain mixed with the bitterness of coffee on her tongue. When Lucas's hand pressed against her lower back, she heard her keychain clatter to the floor. Wait, she whispered between breaths, even as her fingers tightened around his wrinkled shirt. We already can't. Lucas nipped her earlobe, his voice hoarse. Since the first time you pretended not to see me staring. Since the day Marcus forgot your birthday under a pile of blueprints. A shot from the top floor jolted them apart. Isabella scrambled to pick up her keys, and Lucas's business card slipped out of her folder. Scrawled on the back in pencil was Wednesday 2 p.m., warehouse security camera maintenance, the chip's password, hidden in the maintenance time. Lucas tucked the maple leaf into her pocket, then whistled off key as he headed down the stairs. She touched the circuit chip in her pocket. It still held his warmth, like a burning secret. Steam fogged the bathroom mirror. Isabella pressed the pregnancy test against the glass. The 2 red lines stung her eyes. She counted the red circles on her calendar, her fingers shaking. She and Marcus hadn't been intimate since late autumn in the Netherlands, when the tulips were already gone. The office printer hummed. Lucas walked in, whistling, and set a hot cocoa on her desk, the same reindeer cup as before. Double sugar. Mathilde said you've been dizzy lately. When he leaned over, his tie brushed her hand, catching the corner of the pregnancy test. Did you fix the warehouse cameras? Isabella stuffed the test into her drawer, her fingertip brushing the circuit chip. She tried it last night. The password was 1225, Christmas Eve. Lucas's smile faded. You went there. I'm pregnant. Isabella stared at the phone on her hot cocoa, watching it pop one by one. 10 weeks. The coffee cup tipped over. Brown liquid spread across her report. Lucas grabbed scrap paper and frantically mopped it up, his sleeve soaking through, just as flustered as when he first tried to fix the projector. 10 weeks. So that means, his Adam's apple bobbed. Are you sure? Marcus has been in Liège for 2 months. Isabella slid the ultrasound over to him. The little spot on the paper looked stark. Look, there's a tiny heartbeat. Lucas grabbed the paper and rushed to the window. Sunlight turned his trembling knuckles pale. Listen, he suddenly turned, grabbing her hand. His palm was covered in sweat. We can take care of this. I know a clinic in Switzerland. My dad knows the doctor. No one has to find out. I'm keeping the baby. Isabella pulled her hand away, her fingertip brushing her wedding ring. She should have taken it off long ago. The break room echoed with colleagues' laughter. Lucas lowered his voice even more. Are you crazy? Marcus will find out. Beads of sweat dotted his forehead. I just got promoted to full-time. If headquarters finds out I was with my manager, my dad worked 20 years to become a director. I can't ruin that. So you only care about your job. Isabella's voice sounded like broken glass, cutting her own throat. When you said I want to be a better man on Christmas Eve, was that just about your job too? Lucas suddenly dropped to his knees thudding against the carpet. Please, he begged, grabbing the hem of her skirt, his eyes red like a rabbit's. Wait until I'm promoted to project manager. Then we can what? Marry me. Isabella looked at him, suddenly remembering how Marcus had knelt when he proposed, also clutching her hand, saying, once I design my own bridge, I'll give you a home. Footsteps approached from the hallway. Lucas jumped up like a spring, roughly wiping his face. 7 o'clock tonight, the usual spot. He slipped a note into her pocket, the address of the warehouse back door. We need to talk more. A downpour hit at after work. Isabella waited at the warehouse back door for 40 minutes, rain dripping from the tin awning onto her shoulders, turning the note in her pocket soggy. When Lucas finally showed up, he reeked of alcohol, clutching a leather envelope stuffed with crisp euros still bearing the bank's wrapper. There's 2,000 euros here. He forced the envelope into her hand. His fingertips were ice cold. Enough for the clinic in Switzerland. The rest, buy yourself some vitamins. Isabella didn't take it. The envelope fell into a puddle, the edges of the euros turning pink. You don't get it. Lucas suddenly grabbed her shoulders, shaking her, his breath reeking of wine. My dad sat in an office for 20 years to become a department director. If I get fired over a scandal, my mom will lose her mind. Streetlights illuminated his twisted expression. Isabella thought of what he'd said in bed 2 weeks ago. You make me want to be a better man. It turned out all those flutters of the heart were no match for 2 words, career prospects. A security guard's flashlight beam approached from afar. Lucas shoved her away, tripping over his own feet and stepping on his glasses. Through the cracked lenses, she watched him run away in a panic. I'm transferring to the Antwerp branch tomorrow. Don't come looking for me. Isabella knelt down slowly, her hand resting on her stomach. The euros floating in the rain looked like wilting rose petals. She felt the sticky note in her pocket. The one with the heart-shaped circuit diagram was soaked through, the ink blurred like a crying eye. Then her phone vibrated. Sophie's voice hit her like a slap. Lucas just asked me about gynecologists. Have you lost your mind? If Marcus finds out, Marcus already knows. Isabella's voice was empty. She watched the security guard's flashlight draw closer, suddenly remembering the security cameras in Marcus's office last Christmas Eve. He hadn't gone to the construction site at all. He'd been in the office cubicle, staring at a copy of Playboy. The elevator mirror reflected Isabella's puffy eyes. It took 3 tries to get her key into the lock. When she pushed the door open, Marcus was sitting at the dining table, papers spread out before him, the prenuptial agreement she'd organized last week. The liaise said finished early. He didn't look up, his pen scratching through the paper. This need your signature. The pregnancy test slipped from the open flap of his briefcase, floating gently to his feet. He bent down to pick it up, his glasses reflecting cold light, his fingers white around the edge. 10 weeks. His voice sounded like a rusted gear. The last time I touched you was November 7th. At the hotel in the Netherlands. The refrigerator suddenly hummed to life. Isabella heard her teeth chatter. She thought of that night in the Netherlands. Marcus had stared at his phone the entire time, Lucy's WeChat messages popping up non-stop. She lied to herself then, telling herself it was work. Marcus took off his glasses and polished them slowly, bending the frame out of shape. That intern from technical. He suddenly laughed her sharp with mockery. No wonder you suddenly cared about database updates last month. No wonder you kept saying you had to work late. You're quite the actress, Isabella. The kitchen faucet started dripping again, each drop echoing like a countdown. Marcus yanked the entire drawer open, screws bounced across the floor to her feet. He held up the heart-shaped circuit diagram, flinging it onto the pregnancy test. 6 years. He stepped over broken glass, and the wedding photo in his hand split in two. Shards of the frame cut her calf, tiny beads of blood welling up. 6 years of marriage wasted on a dog. You're no better. Isabella finally spoke, her voice hoarse but steady. Last Christmas Eve, you were in your office cubicle looking at Playboy. This past March, you went to Amsterdam with Lucy, put construction site inspection on your expense report. She pulled the attendance records from her briefcase. And every weekend you said you were on a business trip. The company's access logs show you swiped your card in. We've just been lying to each other, Marcus. Marcus's fist slammed into the dining table. A teacup jumped and crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. At least I didn't get knocked up by some stranger. He wrapped his tie around his fist. My lawyer will be here tomorrow. You won't get a single cent of my family trust. The door slammed shut, and the chandelier swayed, casting dizzying light. Isabella knelt down to pick up the photo shards. 1981, Marcus grinning on the beach, his arm around her waist. Now, a sharp cut through his smile. She tucked the pieces into the drawer, where the circuit chip lay. The password 1225 glinted in the light, like a joke she'd never understand. The phone rang in the middle of the night. Sophie's voice was thick with smoke. My cousin's a divorce lawyer. You need to find proof of Marcus hiding cash. He secretly transferred the stocks you bought together last year. I warned you about this. Isabella flipped to the start page in the ledger. Every quarter, on the days Marcus claimed to be on a business trip, the company's petty cash fund had gone missing. A sticky note on the refrigerator caught her eye. Marcus's messy handwriting. Fixed faucet Saturday, dated 3 months ago. That day, he stayed in the garage until midnight, the sound of his engine waking the whole building. Now she realized he'd been moving cash hidden in the trunk, dawn filtered through the sheer curtains. Isabella stuffed the evidence into an envelope. The doorbell rang. Marcus stood on the step with a sharply dressed lawyer, frost coating the tips of his shoes. The birthday gift she'd given him last year, under Belgian law. The lawyer snapped open his alligator skin briefcase. The adulterous party is not entitled to marital appreciation assets. Isabella pushed the envelope forward. Lucas's transfer application slipped out, dated 2 weeks before the pregnancy test. She asked Mathilde to look it up last night. Lucas had applied to transfer to Antwerp before he knew about the baby. Third drawer in your office, she said, watching Marcus's pupils shrink. You keep a backup of the Christmas party security footage there, don't you? I had an old colleague from Technical make a copy. It shows you kissing Lucy in the break room. The lawyer suddenly coughed, pressing a handkerchief to his mouth. Marcus loosened his tie, his neck flashed red. So what? You're still carrying another man's child. I'll raise the baby alone. Isabella hit play on her voice recorder. Lucas's voice filled the living room. Wait until I'm project manager, then we'll go public. For now, we need to get rid of the baby. Don't let it ruin my career. She turned it off. I didn't take your money. I didn't take Lucas's. We're even, Marcus. Marcus's fist slammed into the table again, smashing the teacup shards into smaller pieces. The lawyer grabbed his shoulder, whispering something. Isabella caught the words media and board of directors. Marcus's father valued reputation above all. If headquarters found out about his infidelity and his attempt to cheat her out of assets, he'd lose his position in the family business entirely. Give me the toolbox. Marcus suddenly spoke, his voice losing its edge. He knelt down to disassemble the hallway motion sensor, the screwdriver glinting in his hand. They'd installed this light on their wedding day. Marcus had stood on a ladder, lifting her up to screw in the bulb, saying, from now on, I'll fix all the lights in our home. Isabella didn't answer, her hand resting on her stomach. When the door finally closed, she noticed Marcus had only taken his German-made pliers, the wedding gift his father had given him 6 years ago. He'd always said, these pliers can fix anything, but they couldn't fix their marriage. Snow started falling again outside. Isabella placed the pregnancy test in a frame, setting it next to the broken wedding photo. A screech of brakes came from below. She pulled back the curtain and saw Sophie's used Renault parked outside, covered in women's power stickers. The lawyer just called. Marcus dropped the case. Sophie brushed snow off her scarf, pulling a thermos from her bag. The sweet aroma of hot cocoa filled the room. When his dad found out about the security footage, he almost kicked Marcus out of the house. And Lucas. After transferring to Antwerp, he got demoted for a program glitch. Now he's stuck managing equipment in the warehouse. Isabella's hands shook around her mug. The warmth of the hot cocoa seeped into her fingertips. I'm quitting tomorrow, she suddenly said. Lawyer Jerome said his firm needs a finance manager. The pay's lower, but the health insurance covers all prenatal care. It's about time. Sophie pulled out a makeup wipe, dabbing at Isabella's smudged eyeliner. Those gossips in the office were saying you slept your way to the top yesterday. Now that they know Lucas is a coward, they've all shut up. The phone rang again. Anna, her neighbor, her voice as gentle as afternoon sunlight. Darling, I baked an apple pie. Can I bring you a slice? My grandson keeps asking about the baby in your tummy. Isabella watched Sophie write new life on the mirror in lipstick, her throat suddenly tight. Can you bring 2 slices? I want to save one for Anna's grandson. The next morning, the HR director's pen hovered over Isabella's resignation letter. Ms. Bertrand, the board was very impressed with your tax planning last year. He adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses. If this is about personal issues, the company can offer 3 months of paid leave. Isabella looked through the glass door at her colleagues. Their gazes held no more mockery, only something complicated. No, thank you. She pressed a gentle hand to her stomach. I've finished all handover documents for the tax team. They're on your desk. Familiar footsteps echoed from the hallway. Lucas hurried past, carrying a stack of file boxes, his head down. His new project manager badge glinted in the light, but it couldn't hide the exhaustion in his eyes. When he saw Isabella, he almost dropped the boxes. A pink envelope peeked out from the edge addressed in a curly hand, with a heart stamp. His new girlfriend's letter, congratulations on the promotion. Isabella's voice was calm, like commenting on the weather. Lucas's ears turned red. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but only managed, good luck with everything, before hurrying away, as if fleeing from something. As the elevator doors closed, Claire's voice drifted in. Heard Lucas's new girlfriend's a business school student 5 years younger than him. Such a waste for Ms. Bertrand. Isabella didn't look back, only staring at her reflection in the elevator mirror. The woman staring back had red-rimmed eyes, but she looked more alive than she had in 6 months. She touched the circuit chip in her pocket. She returned it to Technical that afternoon, a final goodbye to her old self. Her new office was a third of the size of her old one, but it was flooded with sunlight. Jerome walked in, tapping a calculator, and set a stack of forms on her desk. Marcus withdrew the freeze on your trust fund. He also transferred extra money to your account, said it's child support. The printer hummed, spitting out documents. Suddenly, Isabella doubled over, pressing a hand to her stomach. Cold sweat soaked her temples. The baby had kicked for the first time. Jerome panicked, hitting the intercom. Should I call an ambulance? No, she smiled, catching her breath. The faint flutter under her palm felt like a tiny heart responding to her. Just a kick. Sunset dyed the documents a warm orange. The blank line for her signature looked like a fresh starting line. Isabella picked up her pen, and after Isabella, she added her maiden name, finally free of the Bertrand surname, free of living up to others' expectations. After work, Anna's apple pie was still warm. Isabella sat on the balcony, watching snow fall on the church spire in the distance. In her hand, she held her loose wedding ring. Tomorrow, she'd take it to the jewelry store and have it turned into a necklace, something to put around her baby's neck, to tell her, you don't have to live in anyone's marriage. You only need to live in your own sunshine. The doorbell rang. Isabella thought it was Sophie, but when she opened it, there stood Marcus. He carried a toolbox, his suit crumpled like a used tissue, the redness in his eyes faded. Came to get the rest of my wrenches. His gaze lingered on her stomach, his voice still rusted, but softer. Dad insisted on taking back this German set, and here. He held out an envelope. Invitation to Leah's christening. I booked that Belgian restaurant you like. Isabella froze. Leah, she picked the name for the baby last night, hadn't told anyone. She stepped aside to let him in, watching as he knelt by the toolbox, rummaging for wrenches. Then she noticed a tuft of white hair at the back of his head, curly, stubborn, just like Leah's fetal hair would be. How did you know her name was Leah? She asked. Marcus's fingers paused. He pulled a piece of paper from his pocket, the sticky note she'd written the name on last year, tucked into his bridge blueprints, the edges worn thin. Never threw it away. He stood up, knocking over the frame on the table. Inside, the pregnancy test and wedding photo lay side by side. The lawyer said, can I visit Leah every week? As a friend? Isabella watched sunset light spill through the window, gilding Marcus's profile. Suddenly, she remembered their first date, how he asked, awkwardly, can I take you out again? She nodded, holding out the wedding ring. You keep this. It's too expensive to turn into a necklace. Keep it as a memento. Marcus took the ring, his fingertip brushing her palm, familiar warmth, but without the weight of the past. Fixed the balcony drain for you. He reached the door, then turned back. You won't have to worry about flooding during next week's rain. As the door closed, Isabella heard the clink of metal from the toolbox like a belated apology. She touched her stomach. Leah kicked again, as if saying, Mommy, I like this dad. The snow stopped outside, and sunset painted Brussels gold. Isabella picked up her phone, texting Sophie, tomorrow, let's go look at cribs. I want one with small rails like a little bridge, to keep Leah safe. Her phone lit up with Sophie's reply, and gag sheets with circuit patterns. Let Leah know her mom fixed her own life's bridge all by herself. Isabella laughed a deep, chest-deep laugh, like the first tulip of Brussels spring, finally blooming in the snow, bathed in her own sunshine.